All right, everybody. My name is Allison. I'm the general manager with Monthly Rentals by Owner and American Snowbird. Sean Beckham is our president. He is going to be giving us some information today, some trends, some different things that we're seeing in the market for monthly rentals. I don't know how many of you guys are just nightly, weekly, if you're looking into getting to monthly, but we've definitely got some good insight for that. So Sean, it's all yours.
All right, thank you, Allie. I'd like to welcome everyone today. We're doing a presentation about maximizing your occupancy and revenue. The fastest growing market trend in the vacation rental industry is currently 21 plus day stays, and that was a statement by a company, AirDNA. Many of you may or may not be familiar with. They've been scraping data off of Airbnb and VRBO, different PMS websites and channel partners going back to 2016. They actually capture the actual bookings and they measure the data. They call themselves the AirDNA data nerds, I think is their newest marketing. Anyway, that's a statement that they made about the industry. I think from having gone to several shows this year, many of us have already kind of felt, that it's going down a good 10 to 20% from the previous year, year over year. And conversely, the vacation rental market for monthly stays is actually going back up. So we're going to go through three quick things. I'll try to keep it brief, and we would love to have any other conversations or get into any more detail. If anyone's interested after the call, we'll have our contact information at the end, but we're going to kind of run through some good touching points, a lot of brand new data, a lot of stuff that no one's ever heard, debunking a few myths, and just kind of getting into. We'll start off with a very quick how to market in general to these audiences, then into snowbirds, the monthly, and then the overall, basically increasing revenue in both the shoulder seasons and the off seasons. So I am Sean Beckham. I've been in vacation rental marketing and web development going back to, I started in web development back when they called it a webmaster. That's a term from a long time ago, back in '96. My passion is technology and vacation rentals as a lifestyle, because that's actually the way I view what vacationing is sort of becoming, thanks to all these great things happening out there. Some not so great, some great, but all coming together to make it a reality. I'm not to that age yet. I actually, I have been married 21 years. I have 2 daughters, 3 dogs. I've had cats. I've had fish. We've had rabbits. I think we've had everything. And we've been servicing this monthly vacation rental market since 2003. And it's hard to even realize that, but counting up, that's around 19 years. And I'm the founder and president of Monthly Rentals by Owner and the American Snowbird network of websites. So how to market to snowbirds, we'll just start out in general with how to market to any audience. So you have basically SEO, which stands for, of course, search engine optimization. And this is just a quick graphic, and this is a recent screen capture I just made a day or two ago, searching very general terms, Florida snowbirds. And you can see in the top half of the page, the paid area is where basically people run Google AdWords, and only 20 to 30% of the people pay attention to that or click it. And then you jump down, you generally have an area where you either have a Google business or certain things like that. Then you have the organic area of the page where 70 to 80% of the people are actually clicking through to the websites. And I explain this to a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, I see that top area. I know it's ads, and it actually says that as I kind of circle right there on the screen. And how do you build up your search engine presence in this SEO section? Well, you've got basically backlinks is a huge one. And that's one of the things that Google did from back when the .com crash happened and all the other search engines went away and they sort of went to the front of the line and have been growing ever since, is they measured you by how relevant are you to, your market, to the market you serve, to other businesses, either in your area, your demographic, whatever the case may be. How many people come to your sites? How long do they stay? And one of the huge things you can do to increase that, and I try to explain this to my daughters going into college, and she kind of asked me, what do you do, Dad? And, how to get ranked better in search engines. Backlinks is one of the hugest king ways to get ranked in SEO through Google. So, and I explained it to her, backlinks are kind of like the cool kids. So with the cool kids, you want to be one of the cool kids. What happens? You start hanging out with the cool kids and what? You're a cool kid, right? So it's sort of like that. You get backlinks from other people talking about you, linking to your content. Google says, hey, they're verified. You don't want to do the kind, you want to do the white hat practices. It wants to always be, with integrity. You don't want to use any of these services where you just go buy backlinks, and that can actually penalize you. They call that black hat. So you want to be natural things that you're doing, for natural reasons. Also, everybody is wildly aware of the different benefits of social media. You've got, it started out years ago with MySpace. If anybody, I'm dating myself again, but Facebook, LinkedIn, no matter who you talk to. Some people, they only like Facebook, or they only like Instagram, or they don't like Twitter, they don't like the others. So you have to be on all of them. And I think everybody's aware you want to post all of your announcements to as many of those as you possibly can. And as you're doing it, to always have those backlinks to where Google sees those people coming from those sites and those interest categories. They may have posted in other groups, they may have posted on their personal pages, they may have posted on a business page, but always putting in the links if you can, to where when they share it, it shows the links back to you. Keywords has always been a huge one. Put it in your body copy, of course, articles, content, also I got a little typo in there. Also cross-linked between your websites. So if you're writing about a certain subject, you know, vacationing on the beach or in the mountains in my area, where the case may be, and you're mentioning maybe things to do in certain months, link to areas on your site where they can go and find more information in that article, because they're going to go to Google, or they're going to see it in your newsletter, they're going to see it on social media. You want to click over to your site, because then that's where in your site, more than likely, you've got all your properties in the area, and you want to basically become that direct link. I actually just got back from a show down in Miami, and I believe they said it was the first time they've done this show in the United States, and it's called the Book Direct Show. And it's all about basically getting direct bookings. Everybody is fully well and aware of the multi-billion-dollar companies, Airbnb, VRBO, those companies where, you know, you list with them, you get some leads. Once you get to the point of making the booking, then you actually get a little bit of relationship to the customer. At that point, you can actually interact, and that customer becomes yours. Well, this movement is all about getting a direct booking, getting directly in front of that person, getting your website out there directly in front of them, not going through an intermediary, OTA, or listing, you know, a partner that's going to obfuscate that in any way, but having your contact info immediately available to them as soon as they see your listing. So that's another huge one. Also, having your keywords in your URLs, I believe, is still very important. And everybody's heard about meta text for years. It's still around. It's still an important thing you need to go through. You need to always fine tune those. Another one that is huge, and I go to many property manager, vacation rental manager websites, and more of them are having this, and it should or could be obvious, but not always. Have those sections if you're seeking a monthly guest or you're seeking a snowbird. With the prevalence of the new STR term, midterm vacationer has also become one of the more recent ones that I've heard this year at the different events we've been to. But when you go to your website, a lot of websites will have a specific section within their overall menu for monthly guests, monthly stays, snowbirds, and those kind of things. And on that page, you can have some content pertaining to, and that allows you to get in those keywords, all those kind of announcements. So those are some general things that you can do to get in the SEO, to get in front of them, to get on social media, and things like that. Each person has their own preferred portal. So again, I know that we can't all do all of them. It depends on the size of your company, the size of your marketing staff, things like that. But stay very consistent at the ones that you are currently on, or that you're specializing in. Maybe try to branch out to another one and just kind of see how it can go. How to market to snowbirds. All right. So what is a snowbird? And this is sort of what Allie alluded to when I was asking her about the changing of the trees. As she's up in Tennessee, I'm in the Alabama and Florida Gulf Coast. And this time of year, I noticed we just recently were traveling, and you see many colors changing on the license plates as you go
Slower
around.
traffic.
That's right. As you go around and you're looking at the parking lots, you're at a restaurant, you see all these different license plates you don't normally see the rest of the year. And that's great. Those people are coming down, they're spending their money, they're staying here for, 6 months of the year. This is their second home. And that's a great thing. So sometimes people ask me, where does the snowbird name come from? And I'm just sort of being broad, but of course it's generally retirees that are coming from the north to the south as it gets colder to flee the snow and shoveling driveways and things like that, to live in warmer climates and be able to enjoy the beautiful weather in the southern climates. That the word actually originally comes from the Canadian Snowbird Association, which is an organization up in Canada where they're able to lobby and, basically it's a large organization for Canadians protecting their rights, dealing with insurance and political and all these kind of things. Also in Texas, just to let everybody know, for whatever reason, Texas, they're referred to as winter Texans, and the people on this call from Texas can already tell us about that. Our company, so how did we get involved with snowbirds? Well, it goes back, and we are the #1 snowbird rentals resource since 2003. We've had that in all of our marketing going back this entire span of time. Excuse me. And it all started in 2003 with our first website, snowbirdcondo.com. That started out really good. It slowly built momentum. We basically had some different property managers wanting to advertise with us. We saw some hotbeds in certain states, and we thought from snowbird.com, snowbirdcondo.com, it might be a valuable asset to have one specifically for, I think we started out with Alabama and Texas and South Carolina. And of course, Florida was a huge one. We purchased that domain name within that time frame. And then we created a national one also that is more overall snowbird focused, called americansnowbird.com. So over the years, whenever you post a property with us, it gets posted to the national site, americansnowbird.com, while it's also simultaneously posted to whichever state that you're in. So if it's in Pensacola, Florida, it's posted to floridasnowbird.com and americansnowbird.com. If it's in Palm Desert, California, California Snowbird and americansnowbird.com simultaneously. So this formula has worked tremendously over the years, just gauging by inquiries. And these are actual inquiries that have come through our websites over the last 10 years. And again, I have to always remind people, these are not your nightly, weekly leads that people have seen come in for several decades now. Like for instance, through the old platforms and models of VRBO, where you got hundreds and hundreds of them, you might get haggled down on a lot of them. They're sending them out, in bulk and that kind of thing. These are actual inquiries for a property that have come through our site, and they're looking for a month, or actually more times than not, 2 or 3 month stay. So they boiled it down to specific things about a property and a state and an area that they're looking for. It could be winter amenities, it could be a number of bedrooms, it could be a number of things. But when that property gets booked for a weekend in the middle of one of those months, or let's say even 1 month in the middle of a 3 month stay, it's no longer available to them. So they're very, very serious when they contact you. Basically, they're looking for some information, trying to find out, to the detail, what they can find out about that property. And they're very, very ready to book the majority of the time. In fact, 74% of the leads that have come through are for 1 or 2 properties. So they got it generally boiled down to you or one other person. Those 211,000 inquiries that have come in over 10 years average out to about 21,000 multi-month, primarily multi-month stays a year. Or if you look just within the last 2 years at the phenomenal growth we've seen, it's actually 31,000 monthly inquiries a year. So how to market snowbirds? How did we get established? How are we, supposedly the resource, and what have we done to get to the point we're at? Pardon me for 1 second. All right, so everyone knows how hard it is to get ranked on page 1 of Google nowadays, right? Why is it so hard to get ranked in that organic area that you cannot control, not the paid area, but the organic area? Because there's such huge vendors out there, such as, Airbnb, VRBO, Zillow, the list goes on, of multi-million and billion-dollar companies all competing for that same valuable area. Well, we come up on those areas, and Google does their dance on a regular basis. These results change on a daily basis, monthly basis. They're always changing. We did a few screen captures here of just some recent common results. So in searching for snowbird rentals, we come up in position number 1 on page 1 for American Snowbird, again on number 2, and then again on number 4 for floridasnowbird.com. Or for a term like winter rentals, we come up in position number 2, in this particular instance, right behind VRBO, but on page 1 for winter rentals overall. So these are high traffic terms. They're not long tail. They're terms that are, getting the majority of the traffic. How are we doing this? We've been doing it for 19 years. We've had organic traffic coming to our site, interacting with our site, bookings coming through our site, going to property manager sites, vacation rental manager sites for 19 years. Google bases it on your reputation, your links. Remember, we talked about backlinks, and then how relevant are you to the market? Also, what's your history in doing it? We've got all those things basically going for us. In addition, we mentioned on here Snowbird Fest events. We've been putting on an annual event every year, going back to 2012, when we started with 6 vendors and around 200 snowbirds, which we were very happy to have at that point in time. It's grown over the years a good bit. 2019, 60 plus vendors, and 2020, 70 plus vendors, 3,500, 4,000 snowbirds. Plus we host other events, other chambers. We go to CSA events, other events that the CVB and COCs, Chambers of Commerce put on. We put on our own out of that area, Snowbird Fest events, et cetera, and so on. Also at our snowbird events, every snowbird that comes, there's always a certain percentage there that they're, not real tech savvy, not real great with computers. So we printed a snowbird newsletter that they can actually take with them home, and it actually lists all the properties with a QR code that they say, my daughter, my son, my next door neighbor helps me find these things, helps me get them rented, that kind of thing. So we do all these different things. We advertise in industry publications targeted towards snowbirds and monthly vacationers, et cetera, and so forth. And we've been doing it for a very long time. We also have Facebook posts, Facebook presence, Facebook pages, Facebook groups. We participate in posting all those groups, et cetera, and so forth. Here's just another example again of, and this is more toward just the overall monthly market of, the sort of SEO results that we get. So you've got, for instance, we typed in monthly rentals by owner, and there we are at number 1 and number 2. Number 1 for monthlyrentalsbyowner.com, and americansnowbird.com. And then for monthly rentals, we come up number 1 for monthlyrentalsbyowner.com, and number 8 for alabamasnowbird.com. And for monthly vacation, number 2 for americansnowbird.com. All right, the next screen is about technology. We also have an email newsletter on our sites that snowbirds and retirees and monthly guests have been subscribing to, going back to, again, starting back in 2003. And to give you an idea, email is a very, very, very accepted technology. It's been around for a long, long time. So pretty much, all of the snowbirds, all the retirees are on it. They're familiar with it. They use it on a regular basis. To give you an idea, Constant Contact, the largest company that I'm aware of that basically offers email newsletter software in the world, I believe, gives you percentages of how many people, when you send out an email, whether you send it to pet owners, you send it out to retail, or all these different business demographics, what percentage of them actually open your email? And this is just in broad terms. So for instance, travel tourism, I'll pick the 3 that were most relevant here. 15% open it, real estate 16%, 13% technology. The overall number across all industries is 18% of the people open them. Our newsletters, because again, it's such an important thing to people and it's such a commodity that can disappear if they don't get it, the sooner the better that they can secure it. 42% actually open our email newsletters and view them. And it actually goes on for the entire month until the next one comes out. How many of them actually click through? And here is the most important metric. How many, when your email newsletter is going out, that's great. That's awareness, that's branding. How many are actually clicking through to your site? And again, just boiling it down to those 3 most germane demographics: travel and tourism, 11% click through, real estate, 12%, technology, 13%. Overall, as an industry, it's 8% of the people actually click through to your site. Our newsletters get a 34 to 41% click-through rate because, again, they're just all about the product that we're offering them, about the timeliness, about, is it available for me now? Can I secure it? Baby boomers and technology, not just email. So baby boomers in general are 1946 to 64, and they're researching and comparing trips. And this is data from the industry that says 84% actually book their travel online. They spend 5 hours a day, baby boomers do, on smartphones. Same amount of time as millennials, believe it or not. Millennials spend 3 hours a day is the difference on social media and 1 hour a day on texting, whereas baby boomers are on email, news apps, and surfing the web in general. And it's a pretty interesting stat that 99% of baby boomers will take at least one leisure trip or more per year, which is upwards of $157 billion of travel, controlling 70% of the disposable income in the United States. So it's a huge, huge market out there. So how to market snowbirds, overcoming common myths. And we've got a few myths here, and I'm going to jump this forward before going back. This is, I like to kind of compare this. I heard this really within the last month. Somebody was telling me, hey, did you hear Tom Brady has a boat that's as big as the Titanic? I was like, wow, I know that Tom and Giselle are doing really well, but that would be one crazy size boat. So I looked it up, and a lot of people are familiar with Snopes and these kind of things. And the answer is Tom Brady has a boat, has a yacht, and it's 55 feet, which is very, very big. I'm sure it's very nice. But by comparison, the Titanic is 882 feet, 11 times larger than Brady's boat, or 11 times longer, and not even counting the width or the height. So going back up, we've got some myths here about snowbirds that I've heard so many times over the years. I just feel compelled I have to go through them one time because the majority of us have probably heard 1 or 2 of these at some point in time. Short stays, they only want to stay a month. Cheap, they only want to pay insanely low rates, like $1,000 a month. Cheap second time, they stay several couples in one rental, so little profit. Time intensive, excuse me. They're crabby and they complain all the time they're not worth it. And then the last one, owners want to use a unit over renting it for such cheap rates. Well, we actually at our Snowbird Fest events, this data doesn't exist in the industry, but we had an opportunity to ask. We said, how long do you stay? How much do you pay? What are you looking for? All these kind of things. So we've got a lot of great data that we can share with a lot of property managers. Well, the data that they actually filled out and told us, this is how long we stay, said 51% are here 3 to 4 months. Over half, not 1, not 2, 3 to 4 months. Only 19% are staying that 1 month myth that we're hearing in this very, very common, I don't know if you want to call it an objection, whatever you want to call it. It's a false statement. 45% are spending $2,700 to $5,000 or more per month. So for 50% of them, multiply that times 3 or 4. 98% said they have never, ever stayed in a unit with another couple, 2 snowbird couples, etc. And if you think about as far as the whole part about them complaining, the way that it actually works, think about it. If you're going on a vacation for a few days or a week or a weekend, that vacationer is typically going to get away from it all, maybe blow some steam, have a little fun. They're not too worried about it. They're coming for the view, they're coming for relaxation, and then they're out of there. You got a guest that's coming in and staying for 2 to 4 months. What was it? 79% of them, or more than a month. They're going to stay there for several months. They're basically living there. So when they come in and the doorknob's got a little hole in the sheetrock, or maybe the fridge handle's loose, or light switch doesn't work, or, the batteries need to be replaced and a few things, or light bulbs. Yeah, they're going to basically do the Q&A, have the vacation rental manager handle that stuff up front. And generally, when I ask property managers, do you really hear from them much after that? No, not really. Maybe something comes up and you do. But in general, it happens on the front end. They stay there. You don't hear from them much. They leave. There's not much wear and tear on the unit. Many times the cleaner doesn't even have much to do when they come to clean it after they've left. They've left knickknacks that kind of improve the unit. They also are known for volunteering in the community, being very active, pickleball courts, tennis courts, all these things, patronizing local businesses, whether it be retail, restaurants, entertainment, such as bowling, theaters, all these kind of things. And again, they're low wear and tear. They have club meetings in these restaurants. They get together, they socialize. And then to that last myth, owners want to use the unit over renting it for such a cheap nightly rate. And I get it. You say like, oh, okay, let's say, and I'm just going to kind of take a number in general from along the Gulf Coast. This doesn't apply to every area. Some areas are more, a lot more. Some areas are a little bit less. But let's say somebody wanted to rent for $2,500 a month, and we'll just pick some very in need months along the Gulf Coast, November and December. Well, you chop that up by 31 nights. Yeah, it boils down to $81 a night. I get it. That's not that palatable. But I asked most of the property managers I talked to, I say, in November and December, don't you find that really all you're able to book is Christmas for 3 or 4 nights and Thanksgiving for 3 or 4 nights? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, and it doesn't really book up like crazy ahead of time, does it? A lot of times you have to do a little bit of last minute discounting and that kind of thing. Well, yeah. Okay. So you've got basically a snowbird that might pay $2,500, or you've got, let's say you got it for $250 a night for 4 nights, $1,000. And I understand property managers also look at different fees and other ways to make money, but you've got an over double difference in what you can make on a November and December stay, bird in the hand versus one in the bush. Here is some data, and this is again directly from Airbnb, and this is, I believe these are taken from, and we have this for several years. I can share it with anyone to look at particular areas if you guys would like to on a separate call. But just kind of, again, sticking to a certain area for comparison, you look at the Destin area, the green is occupied and the red is vacant. You can see Destin, November, December, 81%. And there it is. The 3rd week of November is Thanksgiving. And actually December, it goes more into Christmas to New Year's. Jumping down to Fort Walton Beach, and try to get these up on the screen a little bit higher. Jumping into Fort Walton Beach, same kind of thing. You've got 97%, actually saying it's looking pretty dire in this particular year. Then you jump over to Alabama, just kind of going down the coast. You've got, again, it looks like Thanksgiving week and New Year's, jumping in below it to Gulf Shores, Thanksgiving week and New Year's. And this is actual data, just sort of confirming what I'm saying. And a lot of people say, well, it doesn't go like that for me this year. These change every year, but this is generally the norm that we see from year to year to year. Of course, the pandemic year was better than 2021, which is the best year in everybody's history, which was Pandemic was worse, last year was better, and this year is down again. So every year's got different metrics going on. But jumping into Galveston, you got the first week with some activity in November, and there's Thanksgiving. In December, you got Christmas to New Year's, Corpus Christi, Thanksgiving week, and then you got, again, the same results. So the next question that we get a lot of times out of property managers is, what time of year do I market to snowbirds? Do I do it in the spring while they're here? It gives them a lot of time to go out and find the properties. Do I do it in the fall before they get here? And maybe they're looking more for January, February, March, whatever the case may be. And the data, these are actually inquiries from our site that have come in. It's an actual lead for a property sent to a property manager through our site. It basically shows you that all year long, snowbird inquiries are coming in. Snowbird and all monthly inquiries. So in this particular sample, you can see that there are some top months, there are some trends, but they always vary. So in 2008, the number one month was August. The number two month was September, and the third was October. I've got those three marks. Then you got March and April. So the top three were all in the fall: 1, 2, 3, August, September, October. Going to 2019, August and October. Number three month was May. Wow, it wasn't even in the top 5 the year before. Then you got July, which also wasn't in the top 4 the year before at number 4. And then you got April basically staying at number 5. So you need to be there in the spring, the ones that are coming in 6 months or a year. You need to be there in the fall, the ones that are either about to come or they're looking for 3 or 4 months ahead of time. You need to have a presence year round is the answer based on the data. And then you've got metrics that basically spiked tremendously. Going into 2019, they did pretty well. Best February we've ever had in our, at that point, 17-year history. Then the best March by a long shot, and then very steady through the fall. Then you get into 2020, of course, the pandemic year, February through April plunged, and then May and June started coming back. And then you see what happens following the blue line going into August. You have the best month of inquiries in August, September, October, November, and December in the pandemic year from monthly guests. And then the next year in red, 2021, we had our highest February and March, even before the previous record-breaking years. It still was just spiking. April, May, June, July, the entire rest of the year, highest years, company history by twofold over 2019 or 18, which were our highest ever on record at that point in time. And this is an 18-year history. And then you look at 2022. This is this year. Look at what's happening this year in January versus what happened in 19, 20, and 21. You go from 2,000 to almost 4,000 in January. You get above 4,000 in February. Then you get a 4,500 in April. So huge spike. It's leveled out a little bit. We all know about inflation, gas prices, the different scares out there, the economy. Some people are concerned, politics, all kinds of things. But the monthly guests are still coming in record numbers above any other year, except save for maybe last year, but they're still above all the other years. They're still submitting inquiries. They're still all about monthly vacations. So as I went through, we've had these snowbird websites going back to 2003. And what we saw was a tremendous number of leads coming through our site that were not snowbirds. There were people looking to build a home or constructions behind schedule or traveling nurse and these kind of things. Well, these people did not identify as snowbirds. So we thought it wise to create a website for monthly vacationers that's not just about snowbirds, it's about all monthly guests out there. So we launched monthlyrentalsbyowner.com. It was sort of an add-on to when you created an ad with the American Snowbird Network. And then in 2019, a couple of years, we kind of made it inclusive of the Snowbird Network. So what are the traditional monthly guests? The ones that have been around for 6, 10 years, they've been around for a while. You have disaster victims. This is the one that we really don't like talking about, but unfortunately it's a fact of life. Things happen, acts of nature, things like that. You got floods and fires, and we hate to say the H word, tornadic activity, all kind of things, earthquakes, you name it. Those people a lot of times either have to live somewhere with the family or let the family stay there while they're repairing their home and those kind of things. They need a place to stay for months. Sometimes it could be many months. Unfortunately, it's, we hate to speak of that demographic, but that is out there. It's one that happens every year, unfortunately. Empty nesters looking to work remotely. And I've known people doing this for 6 or 10 years. Kids are going to college. Husband and wife decide, hey, let's go work at the beach for a month, because even 16 years ago, we had pretty good Wi-Fi and internet and cell phones. They could do that. Business owners able working remotely. I've talked to many, many business owners, and they've said, like, yeah, I do that. I travel every year, a month, 2 years, sometimes different times of the year, and I run my company because we're all working on computers. We all sometimes all of them live in different areas, and they can all work remotely, but they're able to take their coffee breaks, their lunch breaks on the beach or lakes or mountains or what the case may be. Corporate relocations, a lot of times people taking these corporate jobs have not sold their home where they're from, either because it takes a while to sell it or because they're making sure the job works out first. It might be a temporary to full-time kind of thing. Then you got Southern and international retirees. So not necessarily snowbirds, they may be retirees, but they may be from England or France or Spain. They may be from not Ohio and Canada and Wisconsin, but a lot of times they're from Tennessee, they're from Northern Alabama or Georgia, and they basically want to come try out the area before they move there. Or they're just not from that area and they're going to come every year for 3 or 4 months, but they're not a snowbird. Families and couples desiring the scenic living and furnished for the price. And this is one where we've seen it a lot in the industry, where you've got the property that's on the beach or with the best scenic view. You got the one across the street that's not quite all that, and it gets about half the revenue. Well, you got families that say, hey, I'd love to live in a resort area, whether it be, mountain, desert, plains, oceanfront, lakes, whatever, but I have to do it for an affordable rate. Well, a lot of times they will accept a rate that may be more than that owner with the property across the street that's not making as much as the scenic property. That owner will say, yeah, I'll take that on a regular payment basis for a year. And they can say, utilities up to a certain cap and that kind of thing. So families that are able to live in scenic areas, but for not the primo rate, but a good rate that's at a monthly price. Then of course the military, and then home builds behind schedule, homes starting to build, or they're new to the area. Well, since 2020, we've seen, and again, we just saw it with our inquiries, a very dramatic spike. Also, there's been a huge spike in technology. These are new rules steering guests towards monthly rentals, and it's something I like to bring to everyone's attention because it's a new phenomenon. It's here to stay, and it's great for this industry. I heard a quote at a conference I was with, I believe it was last year, and they said that basically technology has never been this insanely fast, or it's never evolved this quickly, and it said it will never ever be this slow again. So that kind of speaks to these points of remote schooling and working remotely. So not only is remote schooling more encouraged than it was before the pandemic, of course, during the pandemic, it became a necessity. And since then, it has remained a norm. Working remotely, same kind of thing. In the job market, people, you want to retain employees or you want to get the best employees. This is now a requirement because this is something the employees say they've got to have on their top 3 list. They want to work remotely. Well, they can do it in a monthly rental many, many times. Laws in the pandemic, that's one of the things that happened back then. They limited it to 30-day stays. There are also many, many local communities, which is a new thing. And I'm seeing this every month. There's new communities that are banning nightly stays, and they're saying a minimum of 30 days. Some of them are even saying 90-day stays. We have vacation rental managers that have a large number of properties in these areas, and they're like, what do I do now? Well, you have this option of posting it on a monthly and multi-month, a 3-month, 6-month basis. You need a venue to get that out in front of people. And as we went through earlier, there are ways for you to do it as a property manager. We're just a platform that allows you to do it more kind of quickly, sort of turnkey.
Sean, if you can, do you want to send that poll out asking about trends?
There you go. Yeah. Do you have it? I don't have it.
I don't. You've got that on the bottom there. If you see it, no big deal. If not, we were just wondering what you guys were seeing in your area, if there was a surge of monthly rentals and if y'all were accepting monthly rentals.
Polls.
We're learning how to Zoom here, guys.
All right. Yeah, we're going to send out a poll here. We are pretty new to Zoom. We were using another platform previously that didn't quite meet our needs. Does your company offer monthly bookings? I put out a poll here to ask everyone. Do you accept monthly, multi-month, 30-day or 60-day, or even 6-month bookings? Okay, in the poll. Share the results. It looks like 100% of the people on this call do. Excellent.
Yeah. Good deal.
Let's see if I can jump back to my screen. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
You were on a roll. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's good. Nice little break there. Okay, so going back down the list, and then you have another new thing since the pandemic. Again, these are things that have really made our market, everyone's market of monthly vacation rental opportunities just go through the roof. We've seen it coming through our site through, again, actual inquiries. I don't know how you can get more proof than that since the pandemic. People moving from large cities to safer scenic areas and areas with, it may be more land. Some people try to say safer areas, more outdoor space, areas to roam, outdoor activities. It's a huge trend. It's been in the media. It's been in the news for going on, at least 2 years now. I think everybody's pretty aware of that huge demographic. Well, those people, the large majority of them will take a monthly rental to do that before they actually decide to set up home and make it their new home. People trying areas before they buy, and that sort of speaks to that, not just retiring soon, but not just the retirees, but as we just mentioned, through technology, remote schooling, people seeking new areas, all ages. It could be young couples, it could be singles, it could be families, it could be families with grandparents and other people with them. But they're wanting to try areas before they buy them, see if it fits out for their kids, if it fits out for allergies, or if they like the people, if whatever the case may be. They have new construction. This is another one, again, created by, we all at least point the finger to the pandemic, but very common construction delays. So, for instance, all the products that are taking so long to get into the country is one of the contributing factors towards constructions being delayed or being able to start on a home, and home build times being extended, and that sort of thing. So we did a poll this year in 2020. I believe this was July, and we asked all of the people using our websites, all of our clients, with gas prices going up, everything we're seeing in the news, with inflation, are you still going to take a monthly vacation? Are you going to stay less time? Or you're not going to come at all? The results were surprisingly ultra positive. 90% staying the same number of months or staying more months this year. According to our survey, we found 90% will continue to book their monthly stays this year and into the future. So you got 57% of that 90% staying the same exact length of time. I come for 2 months, I come for 4 months. That's what I'm doing next year. You got the next biggest group is 12% that are going to stay actually longer than they stayed, more months than they stayed the previous year. Then you get into 10% that say, this is my first time. So in other words, the economy doesn't scare me. I'm still going to become a snowbird or a monthly vacationer for the first time. Then you got 11% staying shorter or less months. Sure, we get it. Then you got the other two, 7%, I'm not going to take a monthly vacation because of inflation of gas, or 3% not taking it because of other reasons. So you got 90% for one reason or another, they're staying the same or longer. Good stat. Here is basically just an overall demographic, and I kind of picked we picked 4 different areas from around the country. And again, this is data from AirDNA of actual occupancy trends throughout the United States. We took 2 of the most recent years that we could find the info for. Lake Havasu, you got September, October, November, and December of 2020. Then you go into January, February, March, and you can see basically red is bad, good, red is bad, green is good, vacancies versus occupancies. Shoulder months is another thing that it gets into a lot, is a huge recommendation. We'll kind of touch on that here in a second. And I like to use an example here, and this is sort of slice of life, sort of exactly how it went when I owned a little 1-bedroom condo in Gulf Shores, Alabama, on the Gulf Shores, Florida, Gulf Coast. So it was a little 1-bedroom directly on the beach, 750 square feet or so. And this shows my revenue. So in October, I got a call in 2018. Someone from Tennessee wanted to try the area. I said, well, they want to come in October. I said, well, why don't I get you a November or December price? Because you're not going to like October. In our area, we have National Shrimp Festival. The weather's still pretty good. People are still coming. They said, well, I don't want to come there when the weather sucks. I'm quoting them. Don't want to come when it's cold and dreary. I want to come and see what it's like to live there. I'm thinking about moving to the area. So I said, okay. I went back and looked at my numbers. I was thinking October's normally good. Surprisingly, and I think when I've told this to 1 or 2 property managers, they say, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. You'll see from year to year to year, there's a big variance. It could depend on a number of things. It could be, things like, unfortunately, the pandemic or inflation. It could be the weather or politics, or, any number of things, political climates, you name it. But basically in a lot of areas, they vary from year to year. In my particular instance, I'd made $2,300 one year, $1,500. I said, well, what price could I offer to him to where I don't feel like I'll come back regretting it? It'll be worth it for me to do this. So I said, $3,540. He said, I'll take it. Thank you. Signed up, paid, I got that amount. I had the same thing happen the year before, 2017. And this was actually someone building a home. It was way behind schedule. They said, basically, I need it for more than a month. I need to start in May. I said, well, you're competing with spring breakers. That's kind of a big deal. And then you're getting into May with, summer and everything else. I just cannot rent it to you for that amount of money. Or if you do, you're not going to like the number, but I'll go see what I can do. So I looked at the previous year, 3,100. I said, okay, 4,400. I rented it. And then history tells that I wasn't even able to make close to that the next year. So in each case, the first case, I made $1,200 more with way less wear and tear on my unit, way more dependability of the guest, being a monthly guest. I required them to go ahead and put the full amount up front in my particular case. Everybody has different policies. But in one case, I made $1,200 more than I'd made in 3 years. In the other case, I made $1,400 more than I'd made in 3 years on the nightly, weekly market. So what I encourage property managers to do, and this is just one example, we can look at the data for each specific area, and you guys can look at your properties, but look at what you made over a 3-year period for your properties in these shoulder months. And this is on the Gulf Coast. The shoulder months are April and May, and they're September and October. Market for that amount, maybe that the tops of the 3, or maybe you add an extra 500 or whatever the case may be to make you comfortable with taking that chance. Put it out there. If you're basically posting it and you're visible with it to a audience that's seeking that, and nobody else in your area is, you're going to get that call. And if you get that call, they boil it down to you one other person. You got a 50-50 chance or better of getting that booking. And you're doing better than you've done in 3-year history. So I very, very much encourage everybody, especially going through, the current scary times, to look at your shoulder seasons. Here's an example of picking out a few areas and going by what the area, the data that AirDNA gives us, looking at the seasonality of these areas. So West Palm Beach, and these are kind of top right, you can see Florida. I picked a few in these next 2 slides going around the state. West Palm Beach, September, 100% vacancies. Then you get in, that's what we call bad months. You definitely need monthly stays. Then you get into the opportunity months where, it's 70, 80, 90%. We strongly encourage you to go ahead and advertise, and most of you are advertising those rates, monthly rates in those months as well. So in that particular city, May, June, August, and October, every area is different. Then you get into the questionable, like I could put a good price up there, but I probably wouldn't want to do it a lot. And for them, it might be July, November. Then going down the page, staying in South Florida, you got Naples. October is really bad in Naples. May, June, July, and September, definitely a huge need for monthly stays. And then August and December, a good bit of need as well. And then down in the Keys, Islamorada, there you've got actually January, September, and October, really, really badly need monthly stays, according to the data. And then you've got opportunity months of August, November, and December. There are no questionable months after that. Jumping up the coast, the land of the mouse, Orlando and Kissimmee. I've been to a number of shows there, and try to share this data with everybody because it seems like a varying variety of opinions. Orlando, everybody agrees that's a dire need month. And Kissimmee, if I've said it correctly, you got September and October, according to the data, around 100% vacancies, and this is across the industry. Then going back to Orlando, August, October, needing some monthly stays, pretty good bit in August in Kissimmee. And then you got your, let's explore our options months. So July, November, December, May, June, and November between the 2. And then lastly, we'll jump up to the Gulf Coast just really quickly. The dire bad months, looks like January, and then September and December, 84%, 90%, and 84%. Then you got a still need them a good bit October. And then you got your other opportunity months of April, August, and November, where it's, still 50 to 60%. So by the numbers, bookings that meet 28+ day stays is the fastest growing vacation rental demographic today. And this is a statement put out again by AirDNA that actually pulls the data. You can, if you use their software, you can click on any listing out there and see specifically what they made in revenue. So this company, again, that comes as the data nerds, recently in May and June, July, they said occupancy fell in the vacation rental industry by basically 9 to 10% year over year. Conversely, The demand for monthly stays grew by 22%. So you got basically two things going opposite directions. How many months, based on our survey that we put out to our guests, 81% of our monthly guests stay for 2 or more months, and 51% stay for 3 to 4 months. This chart basically shows each year. So you can see the monthly vacation inquiries that AirDNA sees coming in from 2019, 20, 21, and 22. And then the dotted lines are the rest of 22 and 23 where they foresee them going. So you can see the spikes throughout the year, you can see the consistency throughout the year, and you can see the growth. This one actually breaks it down. The top left is by quarter. So you got 2019 monthly leads coming in, the growth 14, 16, 17. You got Q2 of 2020, it actually spiked up to 25%, and then Q1 of 21, it spiked up to 24%, and then Q1 of 2022, it was up to 21%. So their average is 22%. The bottom right, you've actually got it broken down to different areas from September of 19 to February of 2020. South Florida, Florida Panhandle, Central Florida, Alabama Gulf Coast, South Carolina, and Arizona. And you can see the different monthly inquiries that they show coming in and the growth of those monthly inquiries per area. This one is how can you save your occupancy? So getting into that. With monthly rentals, remote work has given people the flexibility and spread peak demand over many more months than we were all accustomed to when it was just snowbirds only, you know, or that was the myth. According to a 2022 survey, 40, as we said, 45% of the guests are spending 27 to 5,000 a month times 3 or 4 months and also 2 months. So 79% of them multiply that. And many, many areas are way, way, way above that. I've talked to recently a few property managers in Oahu and Fort Lauderdale, and they're telling me, you know, some of their clients are the affluent and athletes and things like that, and they spend 10,000, 50,000 a month rentals in Hawaii and things like that. I mean, these vary. This is just an overall number. 73% of guests found that this pricing is fair. We asked them, when you pay this amount of money, do you think that's unfair amount that you're paying? And 75% said, no, it's worth what I'm paying for. I'm loving staying for a monthly vacation. And again, 81% of those people are staying more than 1 month. So how to market to snowbirds? One of the things that our site offers, and I encourage people to do, and you can do this on your own, but it's certainly a unique feature of our site, is many times it's more beneficial for a vacation rental manager, VRM, to get an inquiry from, we'll just take a snowbird, or it could be any monthly guest. Let's say you're on the Gulf Coast and your typical off-season months start in generally October, but more November and December, it's really dead, and then January, February, and March, it really, you know, it's still the off season, but each month you can charge a little bit more because it's supply and demand thing. Well, a lot of times, as opposed to being worried about getting a, you know, one monthly stay that wants a November and another one wants a January, and then you got December and February and March sitting vacant. What you can do through our site, and you guys should consider, is offer a multi-month discount. And so what this allows you to do is the people that know that they're staying, again, the 81%, 91%, whatever the number was, that are staying 2 or more months, you can say, hey, if you stay 2 months, I'll knock off, in this particular instance, $50 a month. If you stay 3 months, I'll knock off 75. If you stay 3 to 6 months, I'll knock off $100 a month. So that gets you an inquiry, helps you to stand out to get that inquiry from that multi-month guest over just getting the calls from the 1 month guests. We put these properties and their multi-month discounts in our email newsletter that, again, we showed had all the huge open rates and click-through rates. They're listed throughout our website, and it's something that people who stay on monthly vacations are looking for, that our websites, our network of websites uniquely offer. Here's a testimonial from that we actually just got in October. It's a new property manager that just came in to our program. She started listing back in April, Stacy Drury. And one of the things I can tell you about Stacy, she's extremely screening, nice lady. She's also, like every other vacation rental manager I've ever met, extremely busy. You have to not only know all the technology and all the accounting, be able to talk to people, be able to handle problems, but you got your busy season where you're running like crazy. As soon as it's over, you're like, hey, monthly stays, but you're in the middle of trying to regroup, trying to, you know, put everything back together, get prepared for next year, and also maybe take a vacation. So all property managers are very busy, and that's one of the reasons we are here. And we are, by the way, a company that picks up our phone. We want to hear from you guys. we like to hear from our customers, tell us what's working, what's not working, and we like to try to help them get properties back out there if they have certain ones that need some extra love. But anyway, Stacy said monthly rentals by owner and the American Snowbird Network have been absolutely fantastic for boosting our RevPAR and occupancy. The many inquiries we received have been serious and reliable quality leads. Their websites have been an easy, intuitive, and effective tool that really works. Also, their staff are very helpful. I would highly recommend monthly rentals by owner and the American Snowbird Network. Stacy markets properties on St. Simons, Georgia, and we're happy to hear that she's seeing a lot of good results. How do you get started? If anyone on this call is interested, what do you charge? Is it commission based? No. I'm happy to tell you that basically we just charge one flat annual fee per property unit per year. We are a book direct channel that puts you in direct communication with the guest. You get that call, you get that inquiry, and from that point, from the very beginning, you have contact with that guest. Again, I encourage everyone to remember these people are calling about several months at a time. They're going to live somewhere. So I encourage you to have your reservation sort of talk to them. If the one particular property they're looking at is unavailable, maybe you can steer them toward the month that is available. If they say they're looking, wherever they're coming for, family, fishing, weather, any number of things, find out a little bit more about it. You can help them meet their need because, again, they're coming to live somewhere, not just, hey, I'm coming to that specific area for the weekend. We do have a few integrations. I get asked that a lot. Channel partner NextPax works with the majority of the PMSs out there, and then Track is one of the big PMSs out there that we're working with currently. Talk to us about your particular need. We have many, many property managers that use us of all sizes. We have many that advertise 80 to 100 or 120 units, and they do them all manually. We have some up to 400 units that do them manually. It's a quick and easy process. The beauty of it is it does have an iCal link where you can plug in the technology that, even if you're doing it manually, to update all of your calendars, in real time. And then anytime you log in to change anything about your listing, it changes it not only to American Snowbird, the national site, in Florida or California or Texas Snowbird, the state site, but also to our non-Snowbird monthly site. Changes are all made in real time simultaneously. The websites have been around since 2003, regularly producing, and this is every month, thousands and thousands of monthly and mostly multi-month leads. Here's just a graphic of all the different websites that are included whenever you get a subscription with us. Here's our phone number. There's a direct line, and as well as our 800 number and an email. If any of you guys would like to have another conversation, we'd love to look into your data. We can share with you how your area is doing. We'd love to hear more about your properties, your specific needs. We're always learning. We've been doing this 19 years, but we are a company that picks up the phone. We do return calls. And we are there. You will actually speak to Allison, myself, or we're a pretty small company. Any of the 5 of us that work here, we're trying to grow. A lot of people are like, how come I've never heard from you before? We don't have tremendous marketing budgets. We're just a small company trying to do a good job. We do have new technologies, new interfaces coming out pretty soon, but the market is now. It's October and November for a majority of the country. That is the prime season for monthly rentals, whether they're coming, of course, November's a few days away, but whether they're coming December, January, they're looking for the spring, or they're looking for next year. They're booking all year round. So yeah, with that, Allie, did we have anything else to present today, or is that pretty much it?
I think we've covered it. Let us know if we can answer any questions for you. Like Sean said, we're very hands-on. So if you need extra exposure, if you need some help with your listing, we're here to do that for you. So let us know.
Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Hopefully this was beneficial, and we look forward to hearing from some of you guys hopefully soon.
Thanks so much, y'all. Take